Yetta, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. What is the value of my home?
And as I've said 100 times or 1,000 times, it's always in the eye of the beholder.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We are honored to have created for you free access to over 653 Life Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, building wealth, and using your money as a tool. And the great news is you can get access to them from home, from the office, or on the go. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, let's make that happen today so you can get access to the episodes as soon as they come into the marketplace. Exploration. We are on an exploration. I can't even say the word. It can be tricky to go on an exploration because there is an impact of competing perceptions.
Yeah, perception.
Competing.
Yeah. Because you know what? Everybody's got their perception, whether the market's good, the market's bad. Motivation will change your perception of the market, right? Do I have to buy? Do I have to sell? Those are big motivators.
Right. So we talked about the data, the facts, the things that you can't change, the things that are so,
Right.
And yet what we make them mean or our perception of the meaning changes everything. Our level of attachment to the data. If I'm not in the market, I have a very different level of connection to the data or to the facts. If I'm a seller, I'm going to perceive the data and interpret the data differently.
Yeah, we've heard it said, people believe their car's worth more than it really is. If you go to the dealership, we believe our house is worth more. We believe the renovations we did are worth more than they really are. Generally.
Yeah.
So for the most part, most sellers think their house is worth more, and most buyers believe it's worth less.
And we see that when just last week, we had multiple offers on one property. We had 4 offers on this particular one, and which is great. So the fact is there are still multiple offers. And yet, even with that, none of them were over asking. And the house was priced very assertively, like well priced. It was not overpriced at all. And
we did end up 0.5% off of asking price.
Yes, I understand it was 0.5. It wasn't very much. It was a tight little margin. And yet with 4 offers, if we went back 30 months or in most of the markets that we've experienced over the last 35 years, it would have been over asking with 4 on the table.
Yeah.
And yet with 4 on the table, there was still almost a 10% spread between the highest offer. Well, half of them were in the high end and half of them were in the low end. And they were split down the middle.
Yeah, and that's why we say the perception in the market is that it's a buyer's market. Although the stats, the hard numbers say it's still a seller's market. But the buyers aren't behaving that way. They're cautious. Could be interest rates are waiting for them to come down. There's a lot of people sitting on the fence. So there's pent-up demand, but the perception is it's not moving right now, right?
Yeah, and that perception changes the second that a buyer says, well, it's taken too long, it's not moving quickly, so obviously it's going to sell for a whole lot less. And that's kind of the attitude a lot of times. And then they bring their offer to the table, and so do 1, 2, 3, or 4 other people.
It can happen.
And then the question I've had asked a lot of times, is there really, Yetta, really, is there another offer? Or are they just telling us that? Well, here's the bottom line. There's very few, if any, realtors that are willing to risk their license and their livelihood and their family's income to tell you a lie.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our regulator, RICO, has a system that if someone believes that maybe there wasn't another offer or wasn't the number of offers that were stated, they can go to Rico, and Rico will request copies from that agent of all the offers that were submitted so that they can verify, yes, there actually were 5 offers or 4 offers. And the fact we're getting 4 offers, yes, it was a well-priced, nice home, but we're getting 4 offers. That tells me we're still in a seller's market. If you're in a buyer's market, it would be super, super rare to get multiple offers on a property.
Absolutely.
But we're seeing it frequently right now. It's just not large amounts over the asking price.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah, but as a matter of fact, if we look at the MLS as a whole, the average sale price is no longer above the average list price, which it was in the mayhem of the COVID
21, 22,
stuff,
the first
right?
part of 22.
We're now 98.5, 98.7% of asking price, right? Still very high, close to asking price.
And that's another fact, even though the majority of buyers think that's not true. And that's why we're getting low offers. But when a low offer is coming in, the seller is confident if they know their home is priced adequately, even if there is no other offer on the table at the time, to say thank you, no.
Right.
Right. And we're seeing that's another fact. We're seeing more of thank you, no. We won't take that offer because we know the value of our home relative to the most recent relevant sales data and based on the number of homes like mine that are currently on the market or that are similar. It's not really like mine, but that are somewhat relevant data.
Right.
So it's an interesting time where the perceptions are absolutely, I'm going to use the word chaotic. They're very varied.
And you know what? Just the other day, one of my agents in the office was saying, an agent called them, and a very experienced agent said, I cannot justify the price that you have this priced at. And they only looked in a neighborhood, right? But across the street was a higher priced neighborhood. So this property was right on the edge of the lower price neighborhood to the pricing of the higher price neighborhood. So they were pushing the envelope a little bit, but it worked and they got the money for it because it's right near that more expensive neighborhood. And I think that's why the perception changes with realtors, with appraisers, with buyers, because it's amazing how a neighborhood affects pricing.
So if you're thinking, I need this information, I need to be in on the inside track, then definitely reach out to us because we know that 90% of people that have over $1 million in net worth do so through real estate investing. And we know that it takes over $1 million to be able to retire somewhat comfortably. So if you want to be in on that, which we want you in on that, connect with us so we can help you move forward with the right data, not just guessing.
So with time and experience comes a different perception of what's going on. That's a quote from Chris Robinson. Together, we are clarifying your options because when your options are clear, your wisdom will flow.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.